What are comic books to you? For me, they're comic books. Books with comics in them to read that make you laugh, cry, and sometimes a little bit hungry. Not for everyone though. For some people, comic books equals fat stacks of cash. Sure, comic books aren't exactly the safest investment in the world, but occasionally an issue will go up in value, making that purchase an unintentional, wise investment. It doesn't necessarily happen often, but a first issue or a first appearance can end up costing hundreds of thousands after years off the shelf. If you're a fan of comics but like to buy books on spec hoping they'll go up in value, you may want to take a look at the comics on this list. While there's no guarantee they'll be worth anything in the years to come, it never hurts to grab a pristine copy of a good book every once in a while. But even if not, definitely get yours graded if you already own a copy of any of these, because you never know which books will be worth something and which ones will sell for the cover price. I'm Will for What Culture, and here are 10 affordable comic books to invest in now before it's too late. Note, all the values in this video are estimated based on recent sales from December 2019. 10. Ultimate Fallout 4, first appearance of Miles Morales. FMV at 9.8, $80 to $2,700. Peter Parker was the Spider-Man of the Marvel Universe for decades, and despite various clonings, body snatches, and other crazy shenanigans, it's always been Peter. Things changed in 2011 when a new Spider-Man entered the Marvel Universe in the form of Miles Morales. The new hero for the Ultimate Universe debuted in Ultimate Fallout 4, and since then, he's gone on to become one of the most popular superheroes for Marvel Comics. The value of this book is all about Miles, and while first appearances are usually valuable, they are even more expensive when the character rises to the level of fame and popularity as Mr. Morales. After his appearance in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and the likelihood of a sequel hitting in the next few years, you can reasonably expect the value of all versions of this book to rise. 9. Uncanny X-Men 266, the first appearance of Gambit. FMV at 9.8, $400. Another first appearance book that's likely to see a rise in value over the next few years is Uncanny X-Men 226. This is the book that introduced the world to everyone's favourite flaming card-wielding mutant, Gambit. For this reason, the book has never been cheap, but you can expect it to rise in value in the near future. While it's been in development hell for years and years, there will eventually be a Gambit movie, or Gambit will make an appearance in the MCU. And when a live-action Gambit grabs the attention of comic book fans and moviegoers, this book will become unaffordable very quickly. 8. X-Men Red 1, The Return of Jean Grey. FMV at 9.8, $130 to $180. X-Men Red was one of the several new X series introduced by Marvel in recent years, and the first issue was important due to its introduction of a character who had recently died, Jean Grey. While it's true that Jean has died and returned a lot over the years, this newest resurrection was featured in an amazing story coupled with brilliant artwork. Speaking of artwork, the Rob Liefeld variant cover became a hot commodity almost immediately, and within a few months of hitting store shelves, it had boosted value to around $75. Now, almost 2 years later, the book is selling for $130, and the trend suggests it will continue to rise. 7. Harley Quinn 1, FMV at 9.8, $425. When it comes to the story, there's not a lot to say about why Harley Quinn Volume 2-1 is noteworthy, other than the simple fact that Harley is the most popular character in DC Comics' library right now. Quinn's popularity was pretty much instantaneous after she debuted in Batman the Animated Series, which was shortly followed by her appearance in the comics. Ever since then, she's gone on to become a fan favorite, and when Margot Robbie made Harley into a live-action character fans loved, her comic book popularity only went up. Now there's a Harley Quinn movie coming out, her popularity will continue to skyrocket. Even if that movie doesn't do well financially, the fans will still come back for Harley. 6. Rick and Morty 1, first appearance of Rick and Morty in comics. FMV at 9.8, $180 to $2,700. Rick and Morty is likely the most popular animated IP on the market right now. When you're talking about a cartoon series millions of people love, it's no surprise a comic based on it would be worth some serious cash. It was totally inevitable that a Rick and Morty comic would hit the market, and when that happened in 2015, fans snatched them off the shelves as fast as they were put up for sale. There was a ton of fanfare surrounding the release of the book, and the one that's worth a mint would be the Justin Roiland variant cover. If you have a copy that's graded around 9.8, you can expect to sell it for around $2,700. That's a lot of cash for an investment, but a lower grade of 8.0 will still net a reasonable $425. 5. X23 Volume 2-1. FMV at 9.8, $46 to $1,450. Since making her feature film debut in Logan, the female clone of Wolverine, X23, has exploded in popularity. X23 has been selling well since she first entered into the Marvel Universe in NYX3 back in 2004. She's had a few solo series over the years, and one of the most collectible is her second volume, published in 2010. If you have a copy of the first issue from that series, you may have something that's worth a bit of cash. The Gabrielle Dell'Otto cover was limited and hard to find when it was first published. If you have one that's a high grade, it's worth well over $1,500. But even if you don't, and that's out of your investment price range, you can always grab a first printing of the standard cover for around $100. 4. Spider-GWEN 1. First solo series for Spider-GWEN. FMV at 9.8, $40 to $400. Spider-GWEN made her first appearance in Edge of the Spider-Verse 2, and that's obviously a valuable book. But if you're looking for a great investment comic featuring everyone's favorite new Spider-Person, you can't go wrong with a copy of Spider-GWEN 1. Spider-GWEN was immediately popular, and within a year, she had her own solo series, which premiered with this #1 issue in 2015. As you can expect, there were several variant covers, and some are far more valuable than others. Seeing as Spider-GWEN is certain to reappear in the sequel to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, it's likely this will put her books in higher demand. 3. Walking Dead 100. First appearance of Negan and the death of Glenn. FMV at 9.8, $28 to $1,050. It's always a big deal when an indie book reaches a publishing milestone, but for Robert Kirkman's The Walking Dead, issue 100 was a record-breaking masterpiece. One of the biggest reasons this book is collectible has to do with what went on in the story. The book featured the introduction of Negan, the vilest character in the comic book's history, and it also featured the brutal death of Glenn. Seeing Glenn's head bashed in with a baseball bat named Lucille was one of the most shocking moments in the series, and it was only a taste of the horrific events to come. To commemorate the achievement of hitting the 100th issue, Kirkman published a ton of variant covers. The standard first printing version can go for around $110 in near mint condition, but some of the variant issues go for much, much more. Whichever version you do stumble upon should be purchased, graded, and slabbed, as this book is unlikely to ever reduce in value. 2. Eternals 1. First appearance of the Eternals. FMV at 9.8, $1,200 to $7,000. Eternals 1 was released in 1978, and a high grade will run you a ton of cash, so you might be wondering why it's on a list of so-called affordable comic books to invest in before it's too late. It's here because of Kevin Feige's plans for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. In November 2020, a film adaptation of The Eternals will be released as a part of the transition from Phase 3 to Phase 4 for the MCU. The film will serve as a transition through the phases, as the next phase will be focused mainly on the Marvel Cosmic Universe. Because there's going to be a movie coming out, it's a fair bet that this book, and anything else bearing the name of the Eternals, will be a target for comic book investments. If you have a copy in your collection, get it graded, and if you don't, it's a good investment to purchase a copy at any decent grade. 1. New Gods 1. First appearance of the New Gods. FMV at 9.8, $2,200. Marvel Comics has the Eternals, and DC Comics have the New Gods. The two aren't exactly comparable, but while the MCU is releasing the Eternals in movie form, the DC Extended Universe will be releasing a film based on Jack Kirby's incredible creation for DC. Seeing the New Gods in live action is a big deal, seeing as they failed to properly materialize as expected in Justice League. With the New Gods film set for release in the near future, it's been confirmed that Darkseid will not only appear, but he will also be the main antagonist. As a result, interest in the first appearance of the New Gods in the DC universe has been on the rise. It's an old book, and a 9.8 graded copy will cost a whopping $2,200. Fortunately, lower grades aren't insanely astronomical in price. A 9.0 will run you around $250, and it's highly likely the value will increase when the movie releases, which would make the book an excellent investment. And there you have it, folks, 10 affordable comic books to invest in now before it's too late. Even if, like me, comics are strictly entertainment over business, it's always interesting to see just how much the important chronicles of comic history can reach in price. I'm Will for What Culture, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.